And we're back. Once again, 20 months later, for another rousing episode of I'm playing Betrayal at Krondor.
It's so exciting that we had to come back.
You know, it's
Burning Flesh. Burning Flesh brought me back.
It's been quite a while. I think the last thing we talked about was Crimea being taken over by Russia. So it turns out nobody cared. That's still Russia's property. So that's what's happened in the last 20 months. Last thing that happened.
We don't want these videos to be timeless or anything. We need to date each one of them with current events.
Last thing that happened in the game. So we had been the crux of chapter 2 was everyone was in the kingdom was concerned about a growing number of dark elf troops near the border. Gorath was a ranking member of that organization or that clan. Decided since his leader was a jerk, he would betray him to the kingdom. Once he got to the capital of the Western Realm, which is Krondor, determined that they had to go all the way over to the east to Romney to intercept messages that go between that jerk leader and the Guild of Assassins, the Nighthawks. And then once we got there, all of the king's troops that we were supposed to meet were killed in the tavern. So here we are, in the aftermath of that funeral pyre in the back, just burning those corpses. There was let's see, what have I missed from this conversation? There was a tavern boy that said a Gorath-like person named Gorath was seen talking to the Nighthawks before the incident. However, Gorath responded with, "Yeah, but my name's like Bob up north, and who's ever seen an elf anyways?" And the only other lead that they have is a couple of items, a sailor's spyglass and a weird spider figurine. So the best part of the news, now that the bodies are all burned, is that this music is back. And what's better is the loot has been repaired.
Can't get enough of the music. Which is also why we're playing more right now.
I have debated making this my ringtone.
I'm sure everyone would be very excited in the office to hear it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Nobody's ever heard of this game. I think I've met one person in real life that's ever even heard of this game. So yeah, it would just be a tune. And since it sounds like a video game tune, I would probably be called out for my nerdiness.
It was back in the 90s. Video games weren't cool back then.
No, and they're still not cool now. They're more like movies, so they have some acceptance of AAA titles, but if you like an indie game, then you're really you're not any better off than you were 20 years ago. It was like Mario. Even Mario back then was, alright, everybody had it. There's 100 million copies of Super Mario Brothers in the country. It's fine, you can play that. And Duck Hunt.
Right, but we have a game going on currently.
Oh yeah, we do.
With Hawks game. That is talking about the Nighthawks still, and how we need to kill them. I think.
Well, that's why we're trying to spy on the Guild of Assassins. So this guy here
tactically flank them eventually.
I don't even know who this guy is. He's some kind of a boy that's sort of like a servant/slave type of person, who maybe is kind of runs or works in the tavern.
So he is a boy. I wasn't sure from that low-cut shirt he's rocking.
Anyway, he saw a guy with a spyglass during the attack, and he overheard that it came from Silden, which we had been to in the previous episode. And the only other thing he mentioned was that prior to the incident where everybody died, some special wine was brought in from some place called the Upside Down Keg. So now we have our two leads, We have the 2 items that were found. We have a lead that brings us towards Sildon, and we can investigate this special wine from wherever the upside down keg is. So what's
Special
happened?
wine.
What's happened now?
I would assume opiate wine.
No, you're not too far off. See, the costs here are highly inflated. This armor here, in the previous episode I tried to sell it, and I think I got 16 gold, and now it goes for 100. This item, this Icer, which does bonus damage, was selling for 31 just before we stepped into that tavern. But now that there's apparently a guild war,
Got a weapon shortage.
yeah, well,
By
I mean,
demand.
it's an everything shortage. And, you know, I don't really care too much about this. This whole start of this episode talks about like the River Pullers Guild versus the Ironmongers Guild. It's like I don't really care. It has nothing to do with the rest of the thing. I don't think it adds a lot to the background story of the game. I feel like it just failed.
Subplot for this one town.
Yeah, even now where I'm older and I really spent the time to kind of, you know, research all of the notes and really look at what's being said in here, I still don't care. You know, even having read the books and, you know, they're in the books talk a little bit about guilds and you know, blacksmiths and whatever. It doesn't really mean a lot. Anyway, you'll see we start now at about 30, I don't know how much we were at the very beginning of the episode, but something about 3,200 gold sovereigns in the bottom corner there. That's what we started at this episode. I've never really abused the fact that this town sells everything for 6 times as much than it should cost, but you can certainly abuse that. I do it a little bit, but not a lot. So we walk into the Duke of the city's house, Duke Romney. He's hanging out by a bloated corpse on the table. And he tasks us with a mission to go find Arlie Steelsoul, who is some influential guild leader or another. And he wants him to come to the bargaining table so that we can end this nasty war, blah, 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 blah. Alright, whatever.
Please help me. Another please help me. You can just make that a name of a quest. This please help me quest, which is pretty much a mainstay in most RPGs.
But you know, it doesn't say...
Oh, don't forget we played the lute.
We did play the lute. See, but how this game differs from modern RPGs is you don't know where to go. It comes back, it dumps you out here, it's like, alright, go find Arlie. Well, it's a town south and to the west. He does say that, so it's somewhere back down the road. But granted, there's not a million places to look, but, you know, it's somewhere down here. So between chapters, the world repopulates with more enemies. This time now we've got Nighthawks that pop in from time to time. In the last episode, we got a new spell called Fetters of Rhyme, which we didn't get to use, so I wanted a chance to show it off here. For some reason, I can't target this guy on the left, so I shoot it towards this guy, and it makes me a miss. Did that line up with you?
Sight. It looks like it said line of sight, so it looks like you couldn't target through the other guy.
Yeah, James could. That's a good point. I think there has been some, like the corner squares of the game are sometimes a little difficult. Yeah. I turned the grid on in a few minutes, but there's some certain areas of in the game because it kind of tailors you. We're like on the road and there's some trees around, and when we finish this, we'll be standing in front of a bunch of trees. So it kind of the playing field is where you're standing when the combat starts, more or less. And there's a couple of places where you're like in between a mountain pass, and so instead of a big giant, you know, chessboard, it's like this weird diagonal swath, which is pretty cool actually. It's a shame they didn't do anything more with that, like having obstacles in the way or whatever. There was a building we just blew by on the left, which was another inn, and between the chapters, you can bar it again, just like I we did in Romney. And I think I did that. I think I come back to it later. Yes, so there was a couple of dirt piles I skipped on the way up that, because I knew the guild war was going on. So I just picked those up, returned them back. I'll be doing that a couple of times, like I said, to get a little benefit from the higher cost of things.
So we can just shoot the shit while we fill. Like we have to fill basically a few minutes of nothing.
Well, I do make a cut later. You'll see I sort of have to. Alright, Fetters of Rhyme. This time, it connects. And this is one of those a fantastic spell, because actually I thought it did damage, but I didn't see any numbers pop up. I think what it does instead is, to see next time I try to use it, it freezes the enemy for however many points of energy you put into it. So that guy's out for like 11 turns. And that's like 11 of each of our turns. So he's out forever, basically.
That seems a little bit OP.
There's a lot of very powerful spells in this game. Coupled with the fact that Gorath has like the second best sword in the game at this point. We're pretty much powerhouses. Owen's still pretty weak. He can still definitely...
You have infinite money, so...
Yes, infinite money. Superpower... But you can't really boost Owen's like defense or his health or anything like that. So if he gets surrounded, he can still go down. And then with the mage down, at a certain point, spoiler alert, we do encounter stronger enemies and magicians and whatever. So there's always going to be a chance of risk. And of course, since there's no auto-saving, you can just die at any point, and you could be just screwed back to the next. Your last save from, who knows, depends how used to autosaves you are. It could be hours and hours of gameplay that you hadn't saved in between.
Yeah, I think everyone, if they're watching this, has suffered the losses of hours of gameplay with no autosave. I mean, even like Pokemon today still doesn't have autosave, so... I've definitely done that in a modern game, no less.
Well, that's the modern game's fault then.
I mean, I don't know if you want to call it a modern game since they haven't updated in 20 years, really, besides minor changes. But I guess if you have a formula that works.
You mean like one of the new Pokemon games? It still doesn't have...
Yeah, I'm talking about the last one released.
Yeah, well, that's their fault.
No autosave. They're coming out with one in a month. There we go, another current event. And that one might have it, but who knows?
There was a scroll in that last chest that I left behind. Scrolls are very valuable and they cost a lot, but their price is like standard. So the Eyes of Ishap spell, which that was, is always like 100 gold, no matter where you find it. However, if you find an extra copy like that one, you can't sell it, just for whatever reason. The game says you can't sell these. So that's a little unfortunate, but not really a problem for us.
It's okay, we'll just flank everyone again, steal their stuff, and get more money.
So... For some reason...
enjoy the pawing at the dead body. Just gingerly nudging him while you take off all his clothing.
Well, his armor. I think we leave the clothing. I always thought the little icon on the guy in the bottom right corner always looked like a plant thing with a tongue instead of a guy lying with his legs.
He's just sleeping,
Anyway, you see how my inventory is full,
sucking his thumb.
and yet I'm still looking around for a way to optimize carrying stuff? This goes for a very long time, and I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go and try to open these chests. I didn't want to do another cut to run back to town, so I was like, alright, let me just show what's here in all of these things, and then I'll go and sell it all. So, like, alright, 3 more rubies and more cash. Alright, fine, I'm just going to sell this all stuff off screen. But, time for another puzzle chest. I believe I've lost your audio again.
Tail.
There, you get back. Tail.
like telling a tale.
Oh, alright. Not a bad idea. I like how the bottom row, it just says beer. And how it starts with turkey. But I guess you don't get it. I'm keeping a running tally of how many of these you get. You're not doing well.
Come on, children are born with hair.
Well, that's true. However,
It's a poorly worded done puzzle. I can't get.
hey, rules are rules. What about this one?
Alright, air isn't a 5-letter word. We'll say hopes. Hopes and dreams.
You got real close. But not close enough. I remember that was a riddle on Are You Afraid of the Dark? one of the first episodes of that. So anyway, I ate a lot of food running back and forth between town, and
Now we're running low on rations.
I think we can afford to buy a little bit more. So while we started at 3,300 gold, we're now at almost 7,000. So, I mean,
Stop, won't stop.
yeah. There's no reason to have this much gold ever in this game. There's nothing that costs this much. So I'll always be buying all the restoratives, all the rations that I ever need. I'm sure I'm going to end the game with way too much of it anyway.
Keep out. Look at all these monks.
So we get stopped by. This is Arlie Steelsoul was supposed to be a very private individual. So this is his house, and we're stopped by his butler or whatever, saying you need to bring food, but then you need to put it in the chest outside, and then leave, and then we'll come pick it up, and then he'll go eat it. So there's 2 ways to solve this puzzle. One is to go get food and put it in that chest. Apparently, if you put like poison food or spoiled rations in there, then he comes out and he's, he needs to find some other source of food or something. I couldn't find it anywhere where somebody did that. So I've always just snuck around the back mountain and you run into this trap. It's way more interesting, it's a lot faster, it's less inexpensive. It's a pretty tough trap, because you have
plus one.
Yeah, you gotta get rid of both of the laser things. But the only way to get that transparent crystal through is you have to block it with one of the solid ones. So ends up being a pretty good one. I think you only take like 40 damage if you get hit by a trap thing, so you could also just brute force it and just walk through.
Well, Owen couldn't. He'd be hurting.
Yeah, probably. So this is his page. Oh yeah, just what a smartass coming through the trap. I think this page changes if you do the food option, but like I said, I couldn't find anywhere on the internet where somebody actually did it the proper way. So otherwise, I would have just pasted it in here as the alternative.
Well, yeah, I would assume he wouldn't talk about the trap if you brought him food. So
yeah.
So more guild fighting.
Yeah, price fixing or whatever boring crap.
Undercutting businesses.
It's like the beginning.
Bloody politics.
It's like the beginning of Star Wars Episode 1. It's like, yeah, all right.
What it wasn't just pod racing?
Did you ever play?
The trailers made it seem like.
Did you ever play Racer?
What, the 64 version or the actual like arcade machine?
Or the PC version? Any of them?
I think I played the arcade machine once or twice.
Yeah, that was a good game. Best thing to come out of that movie, I think. Anyway, as a reward, we get this skill book. Chapel's
Rumor and weapons.
It's armor and weapons. See, it's a capital R. Armor.
Right, it's a proper noun.
It's German. So the whole book is written in this terrible language. It is interesting though when you look at it, because on the next page it talks about bonuses you can put on your weapons or on your armor and how to counteract them. If you can read through the bad English.
It just shows how terrible of a language English is, because we can read all of this despite it not actually being proper letters. English could be so much simpler as a language.
Yeah.
Not that I know any other ones to compare it to, but...
Yeah, I mean, I imagine other languages could probably do that. Maybe not, Japanese. Anyway, it gives 3% to each of the skills, or 50% bonus if you highlight one of the little swords. Here, I should have done it on weaponcraft, because you gain skills by reusing them over and over, or by reading skill books. And the higher the percentage is, the harder it is to gain additional skill points by using it over and over. So I should have, gotten the bonus on the one that was already higher. But whatever, I'm already like I said, I'm already overpowered, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't think you've died in a very long time. Especially with that, 90% barding ability that Owen has?
How would that keep me alive?
You spent all those loots playing all friggin' night.
Oh yeah, man, that was
keeping them awake at camp.
So this is Mitchell's house in Sloop. I didn't read it though, that text. It says Gorath feels nervous about knocking on the door. Hint hint, save right now before you open it. I mean, it doesn't say that last part, but basically it does. As much as it's as much of a hint in a game this old as you could get for saying, you know what, maybe I should do a quick save before I crack that door open. So the other thing in town, in Sloop, to look at in this chapter is this last building on the right, which is the upturned keg. So Jason had mentioned a special shipment of wine coming from the upside down keg, but since he's probably
upturned keg,
a little bit of an idiot, this is probably close enough.
That's what it just said on the thing, at least.
Yep. Yeah.
Upside down keg, whatever. Same idea.
So
we're drinking a lot of booze.
He got a special order from Mitchell Waylander. He says it came from Mitchell Waylander, and it was paid in rubies. and was asked to add black tarweed, which is just something that makes people want to keep drinking until they pass out. So that sort of incriminates Mitchell. So let's go ask him what that's all about. Let's push past our hesitation of knocking on this door.
We're now the town sheriffs.
We're the country's sheriffs, come on. Oh no, look! It's an ambush! So, this is supposed to be one of, it's supposed to be a significant challenge at this point in the game. It's 5 Nighthawks against 3 of you.
Of course, you can't put Owen up in anyone's face, and there he goes.
No, yeah, and they always pretty standard tactic for them to run after your mage, so kind of get hit there. There we get get an advantage of having a crossbow bolt hit the other guy, but really when Gorath and James 2-hit an enemy, we're pretty much going to be all right. Fenrir's Prime, he's out for the rest of the fight. Here we go with another 2-hit combo. That guy goes down. So it's really not. I mean, like I said, the enemies do get a little harder. I don't know how much better we're going to get. So I think it probably is going to get realistically a little bit harder in the next couple of chapters. But for now, I'm just enjoying this godlike power of.
So for now, that guy will just stand over there and getting hit by lightning bolts and die. This guy who has a sparkly sniper rifle, as far as I can tell. Oh, he drew his sword. And he's dead.
Oh yeah, when you get in and you start attacking a guy with crossbow, he just automatically sort of switches. Nothing of interesting in the loot. Okay, so now we've got a 3-minute conversation with this guy. I'm just going to give you the rundown of what happens here. So, Mitchell Waylander claims that he was innocent of everything that happened. We just basically go as a recap of everything that just happened so far through dialogue here. He says it was in Romney when the order for the special ale was made, special wine was made, which James knows and agrees. And also the fact that it was paid for in rubies is something that apparently Nighthawks do. We don't know that, but now we know that, I guess. So then the question is, why is Mitchell targeted by the Nighthawks? Well, apparently, we ask about the spyglass and the spider. Apparently the spyglass is a thing that Mitchell has seen before. He has this arrangement with a business partner that he sends people up to prank stone, where if somebody touches it, then they lose items and they just magically disappear. So he told a guy somebody that had the spyglass, one of the Nighthawks, to go up and get it because he liked it and his guild needed the money. So he and his business partner work together. They found out where the items disappear to, and so the business partner sells it. All he knows about the business partner is that he's a native of Silden, and they don't know who each other are, just in case one of them gets caught. I don't know how two people working together, communicating to each other, don't know who they are, who each person is, but that's the situation. So all we know is that somebody in Silden is selling the spy, or sold the spyglass. So we kind of know that Nighthawks went up, or at least one of them went up to Sprankstone, so maybe there's something in that direction that could give us a lead. Or, since we're in an investigation, maybe we go down to Silden to find out who sold it. Maybe there's a connection down there. Basically, that's all that's happened.
I like that this criminal syndicate has their own money.
Oh,
that the Nighthawks have a ruby, and they're the only ones with the rubies, and that's how they pay for things.
Yeah,
and everyone's like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, you better not. It's like if we were to sell stuff with $2 bills, like if the local mafia was like only buying stuff with $2 bills. All right, that does it for we're playing Betrayal of Krondor. Until next time.